Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carly Glantz, and I'm the National Recruitment Advisor here at Carleton. Super happy to be here today to chat with you about mental health and well-being on today's Live at 5. So hopefully you've joined us before for one of our Live at 5 events. They happen weekly, Wednesdays at 5 p.m., where we go into detail a little bit about some different topics that are important to us here at Carleton University. And today is one that I know has a special place in my heart here at Carleton with mental health and well-being, and with my colleague Emily, who will be presenting a little bit later as well. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, don't hesitate to use the live event Q&A. We'll be doing a live Q&A at the end of the session with Emily and myself. And I also have a ton of colleagues, I have 4 colleagues in the back who will be answering those questions live for you. So don't hesitate to use that function if you do have any questions about mental health and well-being and the supports we have here at Carleton, or really about anything that's on your mind. Now, we like to start all of our presentations with acknowledging that the location of our campus is on the traditional and unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. And this is really important for us to acknowledge the communities that we came from and the Indigenous people here in our Carleton community, in the community in Ottawa, and around the world. So we like to start our presentations with that. Now, as I mentioned, today's presentation is all about mental health and well-being, and a huge part of that is our Office of Health and Counseling here at Carleton University. Now, health and counseling is kind of separated under 3 main umbrellas, and I'm going to quickly touch on those 3 main areas that we have here at Carleton's campus. So the first one is medical services. Our medical services are provided here at Carleton by a team of medical professionals. So that includes family physicians that you're used to seeing at home, registered nurses, and those people serve as our primary care providers here at Carleton. So you're taken care of when you're living here on campus. We have an on-campus walk-in clinic. So if you're living in residence and you have a cold coming on or an earache or whatever it might be, that walk-in clinic is about a 5-minute walk from your residence building. So that's really convenient and gives you peace of mind when you're moving to a new place. Now, the next area or umbrella that I want to talk about is counseling services. So our counseling services are provided by certified counselors who deliver confidential personal counseling to our current students at Carleton University. So if you receive any sort of counseling now, it's exactly like that confidential services. One really cool thing that I know I took advantage of as a student was that we offer same day kind of like walk-in style counseling for students. So there's no appointment necessary for those. So if you're feeling a little anxious or stressed, or you're concerned about your time management, or you miss your family, or whatever it might be, you can always check out our same day counseling for students. And again, there's no appointment necessary. Whenever you feel like you need to do that, they're available for you. So in addition to that, there are many mental health resources and supports available for our students to take advantage of. I'm going to highlight a couple today, and my colleague Emily is going to highlight a couple as well. But the first one that I want to talk about is called Empower Me. And this is another confidential support service. This one's available 24/7, 365 days a year. So whether it's a big issue or something that's a little smaller, regardless of what you're experiencing, at Carleton, we want you to know that you're not alone in feeling those things and having those experiences. So you can always access counselors through your Empower Me platform. And these can be done via telephone, video conference, or when public health regulations allow, they can be done in person as well. So this is, again, a 24/7, 365-day-a-year service that's available to all Carleton students, and that's called Empower Me. So just nice to have some peace of mind that you have some options when you're going through a tough time. Now, the other service that I wanted to highlight is a bit of a fun one, and that's our Carleton therapy dogs. So sometimes you just need to spend some time with a happy, friendly dog to help, melt that stress away. And our therapy dogs really provide you with that love and support on campus. So they host office hours where you can go and visit them around campus. And they're also present at special events around campus by request. So it's a normal day when you see one of our friends there who you see in the pictures roaming around campus. And they're always there for you to pet, hug, play with, to relieve any stress or anxiety that you might have on a day-to-day basis. This was really nice. So if you're leaving a dog at home, they're a part of your family. We definitely have some puppy love waiting for you at Carleton next year. Now, the last umbrella that I want to talk about quickly is health promotion. So the goal of health promotion is really to help you discover the tools and resources kind of preemptively or in ahead of time that Carleton offers to really help you understand, manage, and improve your mental health and well-being while at university. So these are events and programming that you can take advantage of. Some that are coming up in the next couple of weeks are things like supporting a friend, where they kind of go over, if you're chatting with someone who's having a hard time, what can you do while still taking care of your own mental health and being responsible in that way? We have events on meditation for beginners. So if you're like me, I meditate when I can't sleep at night. I have the Calm app. I highly recommend it. But this program, if you're interested at all in meditation, you could check out Meditation for Beginners. And there's another one coming up called Stigma, Substance, and Supporting Students. So lots of really interesting events and content coming up in terms of health promotion. At Carleton, talking about mental health and your well-being, we're really trying to destigmatize that and make it as accessible to you as possible. And we really believe that the best way to do that is through promoting a healthy lifestyle for our students, our staff, and our faculty here at Carleton. So for you, if you're coming into first year, a lot of you will be spending the majority of your time in our residence community. And the residence community offers its own suite of health and counseling programs to really help you thrive in your new home. I'm super pumped today to introduce you to my colleague, Emily. So Emily has 2 years of residence experience working for residents, as well as she lived on residence. So she worked as both a residence fellow and a residence life assistant. So please help me welcome Emily now. Do your silent clap. We can hear it from your side of the computer. And Emily's going to chat a little bit about how we can continue to support you as you start your journey here at Carleton. So welcome, Emily.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carly, for that warm welcome. I can hear the silent claps from everyone. Like Carly said, my name is Emily, and I am a recruitment officer here at Carleton. And I graduated 3 years ago from criminology and criminal justice. And I'm really happy to be sitting here right now talking to you folks about mental health because it's something that we at Carleton really value. And we're always striving to promote mental health and well-being for all of our students and everyone in our community. So it's something that's very close to my heart. Like Carly said, I lived in residence for most of my undergrad. I lived in residence for first year, and then I lived off campus for second year, and I missed living in residence. So I came back for third year and fourth year to work and live there. And throughout my time there, I actually made use of the health and counseling services that we have. So when I was in first year, I started to experience a lot of anxiety. I didn't really know what it was because I had never experienced it before. It was my first time living far away from home. I grew up in Guelph, which is about 6 hours away from Ottawa. So I remember, struggling a little bit and trying to figure out what I could do to help myself. And luckily, I had a residence fellow. So every single floor in residence has something called a residence fellow or someone who is a residence fellow. And these people are there as a support. So these are usually upper year students. They're your first point of contact. So the first person that you can reach out to if you need support in any way. And our residence fellows are super knowledgeable. They have access to so many different resources, both on campus and off campus. So those are the residence fellows are really good resources for you to use if you're living in residence. Now, Carly mentioned that we have residence counselors. So right in one of our residence buildings, we have our residence counseling office, and that is home to our 3 residence counselors. Now, anyone in residence has access to these counselors. So if you're living there, you can go see a counselor whenever you would like. All you have to do is call the office to book an appointment. The residence counselors are there from Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and it is also home to the wellness space. So in addition to having our residence counselors there who you can go see for hour-long appointments, we also have the wellness space. And the wellness space is it's a low-key, small room. It's got some beanbag chairs, some plants, and then some different activities that you can use. And you can drop into this wellness space anytime that the residence counseling office is open, which is again Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Now, I remember I would go and sit in there sometimes when I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed or stressed. I shared a room. I had a roommate, so sometimes I just wanted to, get away and have a little bit of alone time, or sit in a room that was kind of zen, where I could do my own thing. Put my headphones in. There were adult coloring books. There's some stuff that you can do to make arts and crafts. And then you're also invited to go in there and bring whatever, respectful activity that you want to do. So maybe you're into knitting. Maybe you just want to bring your computer in there and spend some time, maybe like watching Netflix. Really, it's up to you to make use of that room however you would like. And you're always welcome to bring a friend who is also living in residence to that space as well. Now, the residence counseling office is also home to the mental health champions. And this is a group of students, it's volunteer work, and it's run by, usually there's one student leader, and it's for students who want to make a positive impact and who want to spread awareness for mental health and wellness amongst the residence community. Now, the really cool thing with this is that you don't actually have to be living on residence to be a part of the mental health champions. You can be living off campus and be passionate and have a genuine interest for promoting positive psychology and spreading awareness for mental health and well-being. Oftentimes, we like to promote this to students, even if you don't think that you need this sort of support. It's always good to know that it's there, and to be aware of the resources that are available to you. So there's lots of support in residence, and we always encourage students to take advantage of everything we have to offer. Now, I'll just jump back to the residence counselors for 1 minute. I mentioned that you can book an appointment with them, but we also have drop-in hours with our residence counselors. So each day, one of our counselors will have their afternoon open so that students can go and drop in. So they'll have usually three available slots in the afternoon. So if you're having a particularly hard day and you don't think you can wait a week or a few days to go see a counselor and you want to chat with someone, right now, then that is also an option for you. So we really encourage students to make use of these resources because they're so important. And the mental health champions put on some really great events and initiatives throughout the whole year. They put on workshops about resiliency, how to handle stress, especially during busy times. And they also just host, fun little social events where you can go and kind of forget about your schoolwork or forget about whatever it is that's keeping you busy, and go and spend some time with other people and chat and have a good time. So those are some of the really great resources that we have in residence, and we definitely invite you to reach out if you are interested in getting involved or want some more information on any of that. And with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Carly.
Okay, awesome. So I'll keep you up on the screen there, Emily, as on the next little section here, we're going to do our Q&A. For those of you who are joining us, feel free to put any questions that you have for Emily or myself in that live event Q&A. And if something comes up later, no problem. We'll make sure that we post our email if you want to get in touch with us later on. But there's not so many different resources for you to take advantage of. I have a question for you, Emily, here. You mentioned that when you were in residence and you were starting to feel particularly anxious, you reached out to your res fellow. Is the res fellow kind of the first point of action? And in your experience, did you feel comfortable reaching out to the res fellow?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the residence fellow is, sometimes there's two on every floor, actually, depending on how many people are living on your residence floor. But your residence fellow is basically the first person that you're going to meet other than your roommate. But the residence fellows, there's one on every single floor. And right on day one, when you move in, your residence fellow is going to introduce themselves to you. Each floor has what's called a community meeting or a floor meeting, and that is right on the same day that you move in. So you're going to be introduced to your residence fellow on day one. They will let you know all about themselves. Usually it's someone who's lived in residence before, but not always. But it's an upper year Carleton student. And these residence fellows actually go through a long training period before you move in and are really well equipped with a ton of different resources, both in residence, in the greater Carleton community, and then also within the greater Ottawa community. So if you're struggling in any way, or you want to chat with someone, whether it's about a roommate issue, whether you need academic support, whether you're looking for some how to join certain clubs and societies, or you're looking for mental health support, they are your first point of contact, and they live on your floor, so they're very easily accessible to you. My residence fellow, I had two of them actually. Their names were Tara and Miriam, and I made use of what they had to offer for me. I would talk to them whenever I was not feeling great. They offered me support. They were actually the ones who pointed me towards the residence counseling office, and the residence fellows are very trustworthy individuals, and I think you'll find that they're very knowledgeable and very resourceful. So I would definitely recommend getting to know your residence fellow right off the bat, as they can be a great support for you.
Awesome. And I know after your time as a residence fellow, you worked also as the residence life assistant. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did in that role, and how students might interact with the residence life assistants?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a residence life assistant, I actually I created a lot of transitional supports for students who were about to come into residence. So I worked with some of the residence counselors on different projects. I worked on different programming for the mental health champion lead. So we every year the mental health champions hires one student who is the lead for that group. And so I worked on different programming and initiatives, so coming up with things that could be done throughout the year to create awareness and to get students involved with the mental health champions. Now, if you are looking to get involved with the mental health champions, then the residence life assistant is also a great resource for you to reach out to. I also worked a little bit with, we have some students in residence who are called community developers, and then we also have community advisors. These students are students who also live in residence and who have been a residence fellow in the past. And they a big part of their job is to give a little bit more higher level support. So they are also great resources. And if you'd like to meet with any of these students at any time to chat, your residence fellow would be someone that you could talk to so that they can put you in touch with these people. But my job as a residence life assistant was I was heavily involved in coming up with different transitional supports and programming for students who were coming from high school into university for the first time.
That's awesome. And we do have a question here in the chat, and this is, you can speak to it kind of about residents, but also just in general at Carleton. Does Carleton have support groups available for students, such as ones for grief?
That's a really good question. I know that there are different support groups at Carleton. I'm not 100% sure, exactly what type of support groups, but I know there are. That's a really great question for our residence counseling office. So perhaps one of my colleagues could put in the chat a resource or a link to the website where you can contact our residence counseling office. Our residence counselors there, they will 100% know that answer. They have a lot of resources on hand, both on campus and off campus, that they can direct you to. Personally, when I was looking for support and when I was seeking help with the residence counseling office, the counselor that I was seeing gave me a resource for somewhere off campus where I could get more specialized assistance and help. So they will be able to help you find those resources for sure.
That's a great tip. And definitely there's so many different touch points, I feel like, on campus. So whether you're living in residence and you're reaching out to your residence fellow first, or you're reaching out directly to a counselor through health and counseling, there's so many different ways that you can hopefully feel supported while you're here. Specifically for students who are living off campus, so aren't living in residence, I know we've spoken about it a little bit already, but Just can you go over again some different supports that are available for those students who are living off campus?
Yes, absolutely. So like Carly mentioned earlier, we do have health and counseling services, and these services are available to everyone in the Carleton community. So if you're not living in residence, then you definitely can reach out to health and counseling services. We do have counselors who are for students who don't live in residence. So that's something that you can take advantage of. If you're looking to get involved, with and promoting mental health awareness, you can join the Mental Health Champions. So just because the Mental Health Champions is a group that is, promoting mental well-being within residents, the group actually, takes volunteers and students who don't live on campus either. So in order to get involved with the Mental Health Champions, you can email them. And their email is right on our website. And essentially, they're a diverse group of Carleton students who challenge themselves and those around them to learn and spread principles of positive psychology and wellness. And just by being a part of this group, will open up different doors to you. You'll be able to find probably other supports and other resources that would be available to you as a student. The Mental Health Champions also work with other areas on campus. So Carly mentioned the therapy dog program earlier. I know that the Mental Health Champions often work with the manager of student engagement and mental well-being. So often there was a therapy dog in the residence counseling office, usually 2 times a week, that was available for students to come see. And like I said, all that's required to volunteer and be a part of this committee is a genuine interest in helping and in developing your qualities of empathy, leadership, and interpersonal skills. And students living on or off campus are more than welcome to be a part of this Mental Health Champions Committee.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing, Em. And that's all the questions that we have right now. Again, for those of you who are joining us, feel free to continue to put your questions in the chat. We will continue to answer them for the next couple minutes during this presentation. We'll all stick around for a couple minutes just to make sure that all your questions are answered. And again, thank you, Emily, for sharing your own personal story and all of your expertise in residence.
Thank you, Carly.
Cool. So to wrap up our presentation, just want to let you know that you can always stay in touch with us, and we definitely encourage you to do so. You can follow us on your social media accounts, so at Carleton_Future on Instagram, Carleton Future on Facebook and Twitter. If you are joining us in the fall, don't forget to keep monitoring your application on 360.carleton.ca. If you already have an offer, congratulations. We're really looking forward to seeing you in the fall. And we do have a lineup of more Live at 5s to come. So if you head to admissions.carleton.ca/live at 5, you can see all of the upcoming topics that we're going to be covering in the next couple weeks. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. So again, we'll stick around in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully you guys can go out and enjoy the sunshine for the rest of the evening, and we will chat soon. So thanks again and have an awesome night.